So here I was out stalking at night time. I was lucky enough to get sent some night vision gear to test out, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to try and outsmart this large boar that I'd been trying to track down for a while. I'd had no success during the day, and this provided that opportunity to outsmart him at night. Here he is eating a carcass, and he was a large pig, a good one to get. And I was stoked that you can video through this unit. It really is awesome. It's a great feature about this unit, and there's nothing like reliving the hunt.
Here he is, look at this. You beauty. That's a good sized pig. Well, she sure works.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Controlled Recoil. In this video I'm going to be doing a review on the OneLeaf Commander NV100 night vision unit and the Rapidfire scope that they sent with it. So I was lucky enough to be approached by OneLeaf, and they said, we have this unit, would you like to do a review for us? And I said, yeah, absolutely, that's no problem. They were also good enough to send an extra unit for me to be doing a giveaway on the channel, which is really exciting. So make sure you stick around and check out the details, because yeah, you could be in to win this, and it's going to be pretty straightforward, so make sure you hang out for that. But firstly, the review. So I've had this mounted on my Gara 308, and I mounted the scope. These rings came with the scope. So this scope is a 3-12 by 56. It has a 30mm main tube. It's illuminated. It focuses down to 15 yards to infinity, and it has a built-in adapter for this unit. Now this unit comes with an adapter to fit all different types of scopes, so if you already have a scope on your rifle and you still want to purchase this unit, you will be able to fit this, and it comes with an additional adapter to go onto any rifle scope. And I think the way this adapts onto your scope is actually really clever, and it's probably the thing that makes this really versatile. It's a feature that I really like. So instead of having to have a specific scope for taking the shot at night and a monocular, this doubles it both. You can easily unclip this unit and just rotate it out, and you can see from that you can scan with this unit, spot your game, and then it's as simple as just slotting it in like this, and then it cams over. It's incredibly solid, and it's really stiff to put on, which means there's no movement. Once it's on there, it's rock solid, there's nothing to doubt. And the beauty about it being mounted at the rear of the rifle scope means it does not affect your zero. You can center the crosshair in the unit, but doing any of that to make your picture nice doesn't affect the zero of the rifle scope. So your rifle system will be shooting just as it should when you've zeroed it, and you can take this off and on as needed, and it has no effect to the zero of your rifle, which that's a really good feature, and it really makes it versatile for using as a monocular, which does increase your field of view. Obviously this the lowest magnification on the scope is a 3-power magnification, and it goes up to 12 with a 56mm lens, which really helps draw on that light. So a really great combination. I've used this for the last 6 weeks, doing all sorts of various missions, using this during the daytime, just the scope alone without this unit. I've used it with both, did some recording, and then I'll also roll in some footage of this out hunting. So that'll be what you'll see first. Shot a really nice boar with it, and took down a couple of deer as well, and operation was really good. It's a really simple unit to operate. As you can see, the features on it almost self-explanatory. I'll do a close-up on that. If you're running a smartphone these days, you'll have absolutely no problem operating this unit. I basically skim-read the instructions and figured out the rest just straight away, so it wasn't a problem. I would recommend memorizing where the buttons are, so when you're out in the field, just to make the whole process more expedient and not have to use artificial light, I memorized where the buttons were so I could operate it in total darkness. And it just a little bit of practice playing around with it a couple of evenings before you head out hunting really makes that whole process a bit more expedient, and it just gets you able to focus on the hunt and the unit operation is sort of second nature. So I would recommend doing that, but incredibly simple unit, you're not going to have any trouble there. It's quite a solid unit. It's not particularly heavy. It's 12 ounces, which I think is actually really reasonable. It's basically the same size as most rangefinders, maybe slightly bigger, but it's very usable. Feels good in the hand. The adjustments are very much quite ergonomic, and you also have the infrared assist here to basically help focus in your light, so you have a focus point, and that really helps hone in that beam. This has a 6 power adjustment range, so you can have 6 different power levels for your infrared assist, which is really good. I used mainly between 4 and 6 for a lot of my times that I went out hunting. It was a very dark night, there wasn't a lot of ambient light, and this being night vision, it does rely on ambient light or that infrared assist. So the battery life was really good. I think for professional use, where you just carry on all night doing pest control operations, stuff like that, you might need an extra battery. But even using the infrared assist on 6 power for the majority of the use, I would say, you know, for the average hunter, there's more than enough. You know, usually you're finishing hunting sort of around that 1 o'clock in the morning, and you've got, you know, you've still got quarter to a third of battery left, and you know, plenty of time, plenty of hours to be out there and getting animals. So if you're just the average hunter that's going out just for sporting opportunities, the battery life's absolutely fine. Like I said, professional use, you might want to have that spare battery. You might not need to use it. I was pretty impressed with the battery life. Very easy to charge, just charges in the unit. And this unit, as far as being waterproof goes, I haven't had it out in some real heavy rain, but there was plenty of evenings where it was sort of light rain. Never had an issue with anything there. There's no damage to it in the months I've been using the unit, and it has been used. It wasn't really pampered. I don't wreck gear, but it's out there and it's doing it, and in and out of vehicles, stuff like that. And there's no point around the rubber coatings or anything like that. There's nothing there that looks like it's wearing prematurely or anything like that. So I've no doubt. There's no doubts in my mind that this is going to be a good, long-lasting unit. So yeah, no qualms there. Moving to the scope, we have capped turrets, which I like for this application, because usually the ranges you're operating at night is your point blank range of your firearm. So mid-range caliber like this 308, usually you're shooting out to sort of that 250 yards at night, and this will basically, with a 200 yard zero, be flat the whole way out to that. So a nice shoulder shot will take anything out, and it just means there's not usually enough time at night to be dialing and stuff like that. You just want to get it up and get the job done, and be focusing on the surroundings and the safety aspect, which comes into play with nighttime shooting. So these are dialable. They do have reference numbers on the dial. You can re-slip the dial back to 0, but I would say overall these are really designed as a set and forget dial, but it's nice to have that option added in. But for the purpose of this, I really like the fact that it is capped. You don't really want to have exposed turrets when you're operating at night, just for the fact that if they do get bumped, it's not as easy to check that they're sitting at 0, unless of course you've got a 0 stop. But with the price range that this is, I think the value for money is really, it's really good. You know, this is retailing for around 500, 550 US, so you know, $1,000 to $1,100 New Zealand, and as a package, that's pretty awesome, I reckon. It gets you out there, gets you doing it. 300 meter range. I will roll in some footage there. You can pick out fence lines and stuff at 300 meters. So as a detection range, I'd agree with the specs. I think 300 yards is it's capable of doing it. I think to identify your target and everything else, what you're realistically going to shoot at is around that 250, 230. But that's a long shot for at night. I think that's more than enough to get the job done, given the fact that you've still got to go and find the animals. So I think those sorts of ranges are a really good practical range, and more than enough when you're operating at night to be working to. The mounts are quite high, so if you are thinking of mounting this on a rifle, and the scope is going to be quite high up. So you see here I've mounted it on my 308 because I have the adjustable cheek piece. You may want to consider getting lower rings on a rifle that doesn't have an adjustable cheek piece. So I'm not sure if they provide lower rings or have that option. If they do, it's worth asking about, unless you're really looking for something with a lot of height. Now, it is sensible that they have high rings due to the fact that it is a 56mm lens, so it is good that you can fit it to every rifle. Obviously, having a 56mm lens, you do need to have your rings a little higher than usual, but when you do pair it up with a rail, it is quite a high unit, so just bear that in mind if you don't have an adjustable cheek piece. That might be something to think about. Like I said, 30mm main tube if you need rings for that. Now, illuminated reticle, it has 11 power settings. Now, I think 11 is more than enough. I think the illumination is really nice to have. I personally don't use it that much, especially at night, because the contrast of the night vision unit was actually really good. It's quite a white light, which I like, rather than the old style sort of green, and with that white light and that black standard crosshair, it just worked. There was no real need to use illumination, but the fact that it is quite a fine reticle, which I really like, the fine reticles, it was nice to have that illumination during the day, and you know, and looking into sort of darker scrub areas, it is a nice feature to have. So really happy that they've got that in there. Adds that value and versatility to it. It would be nice to see an off and an on in between each power settings, and probably not as much selection on power, so maybe like 6 adjustments of power setting and then like an off in between would be quite a nice feature. But for me, it was a non-issue. Usually I was using it on 11 or 10, so I just flick it between the 0. You don't have to go right the way through the power settings to do that, which is really nice feature, so you can skip straight to the bright settings if you prefer to use it in that way. The operation of all the components, like the adjustable magnification here ring and the adjustable focus, quite a firm feel but really smooth. So what I would call perfect, basically. I don't like things to be too sloppy and adjusting themselves when they don't need to be, but it's nice to have that really nice smooth feel to it when you do decide to change magnification. I really felt that at night you were sort of only using 6 to 8 times magnification, you know, with most of your shooting, and a lot of the time I was sitting it back at 3, 4 and 5. So, you know, if they brought in an option for a 1 to 8 power scope just for the night stuff, so you could scan with it attached to the scope, I felt in some settings removing it and attaching it, it's very quick to do, but when you're really expecting the action to start happening, it's quite nice to have it attached to your scope. That's just a preference thing. There's honestly nothing else you'd want from the scope. Like it's 3 to 12 by 56 is a really versatile power range for general hunting, and that gets you a long way out too. We're shooting targets with it at 4 and 500 and no problems there with 12 power. The reticle is something I really liked. I feel that it added that versatility when you don't want to dial. It's an MOA reticle, a very simple style reticle with enough information to get the job done, and you'll see that in some of the footage. So I liked the reticle. I think that was a real positive to the features of the scope. Really usable, not too busy, but just enough information to get the job done and nice and fine. So lots to like about this package, and like I said, yeah, had good success. I kind of feel that the proof's there when you're getting animals with it and you're being successful with it. An absolute great amount of features for the price. I don't know that I'd need any more than this. I think having that 300 meter range is more than enough for night vision, and yeah, like I said, there's just a good amount of features for a great price and a good solid feeling unit that's simple to use. So yeah, no complaints, and if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments below, and yeah, happy to help with any of them. As you've seen in the video, successful with it. So yeah, great product, and I look forward to seeing what else they come out with. So awesome. We'll catch up with you next time. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. This is where you find out how you could win the MV100 night vision unit along with the scope that comes with it and the mounts. So it's really simple. what I'd like from this is to get to know you guys as an audience better. I think it'd be quite cool to find out sort of where people come from, where you're watching from, stuff like that, and what you enjoy watching. So all you have to do to enter is comment down below with the title OneLeaf NV 100 and just put the country where you come from and a piece of content that you'd like to watch, or a previous piece of content on the channel that you thought was really enjoyable. So that's all you have to do to enter, and on the 18th of December we will draw a winner. It'll be a random draw, and we will comment on your post and go from there. So good luck. Looking forward to it, and a massive thank you to everyone that's been supporting the channel, and to OneLeaf for allowing this to happen and making this opportunity available. So a massive thanks to them. They really didn't have to do this. This was just I got a bit cheeky and asked, and they said not a problem, and I really do appreciate that. They really didn't have to do it. So it's pretty cool that a company does that and supports the little guy. So awesome. Thanks very much for watching, and good luck.